Hi, boys and girls. Well, we're going to read a book. And this book is called Nothing Sticks Like a Shadow. And it's written by Anne Tompea. So she wrote the words. And it's illustrated by Lynn Munsinger. Ooh, I like how I can see Woodchuck and Rabbit playing, and they have their shadows underneath them. I also see a frog sitting over here. I wonder what the problem's going to be in this story. Will there even be a problem? Let's find out. One day, Rabbit was dancing a wild fandango in a field filled with clover. Woodchuck was watching him from the doorway of his burrow. "Well, isn't it lonely playing by yourself?" Woodchuck asked. "I'm not alone," said Rabbit, pointing. "See my shadow? It goes where I go and does what I do." "Well, I know what you mean," said Woodchuck. "I can't escape my shadow either, no matter how hard I try." "Well, I can if I want to," said Rabbit. "Oh, no, you can't," said Woodchuck. "No one can." "I can too," said Rabbit. "Can't," said Woodchuck. And they pitched can and can't at each other until Woodchuck said, "I'll bet you my hat you can't." "Well, looks like I'm going to get a new hat," said Rabbit. He ran and hid behind the trunk of a very huge tree. When he looked around, however, he found his shadow was standing right beside him. So, sure, while you're behind the tree, your shadow might not be there. But as soon as you step out, there it is. Woodchuck laughed. "You'll have to do better than that," he said. I think he's right. I don't think you can get rid of your shadow. Rabbit hurried over to a bunch of bushes and hid behind them. He looked around. No shadow did he see. "I've lost it!" he cried, peeking from behind the bushes at Woodchuck. "Give me your hat." "Oh, no, you haven't," said Woodchuck, pointing. Rabbit looked to where Woodchuck was pointing and saw his shadow's head peeking from behind the bushes too. "Take my advice," said Woodchuck. "Give it up. Stop wasting time. Nothing sticks like a shadow." And with this, he went off down into his burrow. Woodchuck thinks he knows everything," Rabbit said to his shadow. "But I'll show him. I'll run away from you." And with a great leap, he set out across the field of clover. Rabbit took longer and longer leaps. His shadow took longer and longer leaps as it followed right behind him. Hey, this is like Moonbear. When Moonbear tried to get rid of his shadow, he ran away too. But Rabbit seems more like he's leaping than actually running. Still not getting rid of his shadow, though. Soon Rabbit came to a path beside a river. There he met Beaver carrying a broom over his shoulder. "Why are you running?" asked Beaver. "I'm trying to get away from my shadow," said Rabbit. "Woodchuck bet me his hat that I couldn't." "Well," said Beaver, "it's easy to see you can't run away from it. See if you can sweep it away. Nothing sweeps better than a new broom, you know, and I just bought this one at the market." "Oh, thank you," said Rabbit, and he began to sweep the path where his shadow lay. Do you think sweeping your shadow away is going to work? Back and forth, Rabbit swished the broom. Great whirlwinds of dust filled the air. Soon Rabbit was coated with dust. Dust got in his eyes, making them itch. Dust got up his nose, making him, oh, bless me. And then he sneezed and sneezed and sneezed again. But he didn't stop sweeping until he could see his shadow no longer. So maybe sweeping does work. Or does it? "I've lost it!" he cried. "I've lost it!" Dropping his broom, Rabbit danced a little jig. As he danced, the dust settled down back onto the ground. And there was his shadow dancing beside him. "Oh, I guess shadows can't be swept away." "I'm sorry I couldn't help you," said Beaver, and he picked up his broom and he went on his way. No sooner had Beaver left than Skunk came along. "Oh, goodness!" he exclaimed. "What happened? I've never seen anyone so dirty." "I was trying to sweep my shadow away," said Rabbit. "Well, everybody knows you can't sweep away shadows," said Skunk. "You can't hide from them either, or run away from them," said Rabbit. "Right," said Skunk. "When two things are stuck together, you must pull them apart." He leaned over and he grabbed Rabbit and he pulled. Nothing happened. He grabbed Rabbit again and jerked so hard that he tumbled over backwards. Funny, but I still see a shadow stuck to him. Skunk was ready to try again for a third time. Well, at least he's persevering. When along came Fox on her way to a meeting of her sewing circle. "What in the world is going on here?" she asked. "Well, I'm trying to pull Rabbit away from his shadow," said Skunk. "Woodchuck bet me his new hat that I couldn't get away from it," said Rabbit. Fox looked at the shadow carefully. Then she took her scissors from her sewing basket. "Well, some things are just too hard to tear apart," she said. "Let me see if I can cut your shadow loose." Clip, clip, clip. Fox went with her scissors. Clip, clip, clip. Nothing happened. So Skunk tried pulling it apart. Fox tried cutting them apart. I don't think this is working very well, but they are persevering. Fox was still clipping when Raccoon came over. "Well, aye, laddies, what's going on here?" Raccoon said. "What have we got going on?" "I'm trying to get rid of my shadow," Rabbit said. "Here, why are you doing that?" asked Raccoon. "Shadows are mighty handy things to have. Sometimes they show where you are going, and sometimes they show where you've been." "I know," said Rabbit, "but Woodchuck bet me his new red hat that I can't get rid of mine even if I want to." "Oh, aye, laddie. Well, did you try hiding from it?" "Well, yes," said Rabbit, "but that didn't work, and I couldn't run away from it or sweep it away." "And I couldn't cut it off," said Fox. "Well then, laddie, let's try soaking it off," said Raccoon, and he ushered Rabbit down to the river's edge. Soaking it, shoving him towards a river. I don't know that this is going to be a good idea either. Rabbit put one foot in the water and jerked it out again. "Oh, it's too cold," he wailed. Go on," urged Raccoon. Rabbit took one more step. "Keep going, laddie," said Raccoon. Rabbit shivered. "It's really too cold," he cried. He swung around to leave the river, bumped into Raccoon, and fell into the water with a great splash. The river swirled around him. He tossed and he rolled, trying to get back onto his feet. Boy, I sure hope Rabbit knows how to swim. Raccoon grabbed him and dragged him up onto the shore. Rabbit was wet through to the skin. Water dripped from his ears. His clothes hung on him like wet rags. Never have he felt so miserable. But the water had not washed away his shadow. There it was, right beside him. It looks like you're stuck with your shadow," said Raccoon. "Why don't you just give up?" asked Fox. "Tell Woodchuck that he's right," said Skunk. "I don't want to," said Rabbit, "but I guess I'll have to." Rabbit walked slowly across the field. When he reached Woodchuck's burrow, Woodchuck was not at home. Rabbit stretched out on a flat, sunny rock to wait for him. His shadow stretched out beside him. He was, quite tired. The hot sun felt good, and soon steam rose from his drying clothes. He thought about moving to a shady spot, but he was too sleepy. "Anyway," said Rabbit with a yawn, "if I stay here, maybe the sun will melt my shadow." Rabbit tried hard to keep his eyes open to watch the sun melt his shadow, but his eyelids grew heavier and heavier until finally he fell asleep. It was dark when Woodchuck shook Rabbit awake. "You win," said Woodchuck. Rabbit yawned and stretched. "What? And he rubbed the sleep from his eyes. Woodchuck put his hat on Rabbit's head. "Congratulations," he said. "Your shadow is gone." Why is his shadow gone? Does anybody know why his shadow's gone? Yeah, it's nighttime. It's dark. The whole world is a shadow. Well, half of the world is a shadow while it's in night. I wonder if the animals know that. Rabbit turned around and around. "Oh dear," he wailed. "The sun did melt my shadow." "That's what you wanted, isn't it?" asked Woodchuck. "No," wailed Rabbit. "I was only trying to show you that I could get rid of it if I wanted to, and now it's gone. What am I going to do without it?" At that moment, the clouds parted. A full moon shone, and there was Rabbit's shadow. "Look!" cried Rabbit. "It's back! You were right after all." So sometimes moonlight provides enough light to create a shadow, even if it's nighttime. And he and his shadow whirled and twirled in a wild fandango. "Of course I'm right," crowed Woodchuck, snatching his hat back from Rabbit's head. "I told you, nothing sticks like a shadow." Well, at least he's happy to have his shadow back. So in the beginning, he had a bit of a problem. He was trying to get rid of his shadow to prove to Woodchuck that he could. Well, first he tried running away. That was the same as Moon Bear. Then he tried sweeping. That didn't work. Then he tried being pulled apart from it. That didn't work. They tried cutting him off from it. And that didn't work. Then they thought the water would wash it away. That didn't work. And then he thought the sun might melt it away. And that still didn't work. Well, he certainly had a problem, and he certainly had many different ways that he thought he could get rid of it. But then he was kind of sad that he did when it was nighttime. So, how do you think you would get rid of your shadow? Write about it in your journal. Draw it. What would you do to get rid of your shadow?